My name is Gail McConnell, and I'm an academic and writer from Belfast. I'm Reader in English at Queen's University Belfast, where I'm a Fellow of the Senator George J. Mitchell Institute for Global Peace, Security and Justice and a member of the Seamus Centre. In June 2023, I was invited to travel to Helsinki to commemorate 25 years since the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. I absolutely loved Helsinki. Its incredible public library, its salmon soup, its saunas and nearby islands. And I loved learning more about Finland's significant and varied role in Northern Ireland's peace process and the threads connecting it to my home place. Finland's former Prime Minister, Harri Holkeri, worked in a trio with former US Senator George J. Mitchell and Canadian General John de Chastelain to move towards talks following the 1994 paramilitary ceasefires in Northern Ireland. They then co-chaired the Northern Ireland multi-party peace talks. In 2000, former Finnish President Martti Ahtisaari was appointed to inspect IRA weapons dumps. Finland played a leading role in overseeing the decommissioning of weapons of the Loyalist Volunteer Force, UDA, UVF, the official IRA, the provisional IRA, and the INLA. Queen's University hosts an annual Harri Holkeri lecture. Speakers have included President Ahtisaari and President Tarja Halonen from Finland and President of Ireland Michael D. Higgins. So today it's fitting that I'm recording in the Mitchell Institute at Queen's University Belfast the reflections I shared in Helsinki. Distinguished guests, it's a great pleasure to be with you to celebrate Finland's role in the peace process in Northern Ireland and 25 years of the Good Friday Agreement. It's a particular pleasure to be here in Helsinki because one of my favourite writers is the Swedish-speaking Finnish author Tove Jansson, and the book I love most is The Summer Book, a collection of stories about a 6-year-old girl called Sofia and the adventures she goes on with her grandmother on an island in the Gulf of Finland. They visit the magic forest, swim, draw and discuss religion, art and cats. But a thread of grief is also woven into these tales of discovery and pleasure. In the first story, we learn that Sofia is afraid of deep water, and in the second, Sofia remembers that they have come back to the island because her mother is dead. Jansson wrote the book in 1972, the year after her own mother died. In their quiet way, the stories meditate on death and its aftermath and the ways life goes on as grieving also happens. Midsummer takes place on Midsummer Eve. As Sofia's family prepare to light bonfires and fireworks to celebrate the midnight sun, a storm blows in. Instead of eating the celebratory meal they have prepared for their guest of honour, Eriksson, Sofia's family boards his boat and Eriksson guides them through the wind and rain along the coast. They discover a midsummer bounty tossing in the waves, wooden crates full of bottles bobbing in the sea. The Coast Guard and all the small boats in the area come out to rescue what they can of the crates, working through the night. By dawn, the sea is empty and the boats turn for home. Jansson gives us this wonderful sentence: "Everything was salvaged, some by the right hands and some by the wrong, but nothing was simply lost." Everything was salvaged, nothing was simply lost. Like Sofia, I lost a parent early. My father was a governor in the Maze prison in Northern Ireland, and he was murdered by the IRA outside our home in Belfast in 1984. I was 3.5. My mother and I were standing with him in front of our house, getting ready to wave him off to work, when 2 gunmen crossed the street and shot him in the driveway. Much of my life's work since has been trying to come to terms with this event and all that came with it: colonialism, struggle, class, state power, paramilitary power, violence brought home. In 2021, I published a poetry book called The Sun is Open. I'm going to read from it in a few moments. It uses material from an archive I call the Dad Box, basically an IKEA box of stuff about his life and death. Stacks of paper given to me by my mother, grandmother and aunts. In the box are newspaper reports about the murder, records of the parliamentary discussions of his death, and his student diaries. The Sun is Open moves between child and adult voices in trying to decode the fragments left after my father's death, and it uses them to piece together a history and a life. The book began as a way of trying to deal with all the material I had inherited. So much had been salvaged, collected, kept. When it was passed on to me, I felt a great weight of responsibility to do something with this archive. But of course, my father was not in the Dad Box. He was in fragments of memory. He was out of focus in old Polaroid photographs. He was in scenes I imagined. For a long time I said I lost my father, but as Jansson knows, nothing and no one was simply lost. The dead live on in memory and ritual and writing, and our work is to salvage what we can of what has been forgotten or lost. In the aftermath of a violent conflict, this means we must be willing to salvage difficult truths about state and paramilitary violence and bring them ashore. In the absence of a state-sponsored truth recovery process in Northern Ireland in the years following the Good Friday Agreement, this work has fallen to other bodies, charities, the voluntary sector, and individuals and families who campaign for justice, and of course, the arts. Jansson's writing is very hopeful about recovering what has been lost. That hope has not always been easy to hold on to in Northern Ireland. It took until 2010 for a British Prime Minister to apologise for Bloody Sunday. It took 50 years for the families of those killed by the British Army at Ballymurphy to hear publicly what they knew already, that the 10 people shot dead were entirely innocent, unarmed civilians. To create the future we wish for, we must also face our losses. Some losses we share and have in common. Other losses are unique and may not even be visible to others until we share them. Creating diverse, democratic, civil society involves an invitation to share the work of salvaging, so that, as Jansson writes, nothing can be lost. What I love in Jansson's work is that she takes very seriously indeed the life and perspective of a young girl. She shows us her pain, her curiosity, her wisdom, her vulnerability, and her creativity. My wife and I have a 5-year-old son, called, as it happens, Finn. He was born 20 years after the Good Friday Agreement. That seems a long time, though I'm struck now that he will never know my father as his grandparent because of the conflict. The Good Friday Agreement was and is an amazing achievement. I was 17 in the spring of 1998, reading Irish history and studying politics at school, excited by the establishment of the Northern Ireland Women's Coalition. Had I had a vote, I would have ticked the yes box, and I would have done so in the knowledge that I was voting for the early release from prison of one of my father's murderers. The agreement was hard won and has made possible peaceful decades that for so long seemed impossible. And at the same time, intergenerational trauma is the ongoing legacy of the conflict. There are children and young people born after the Good Friday Agreement who still feel the impact of a conflict they didn't live through. Their lives have been shaped by something that predates them, but which still touches their physical and mental health and their economic and social security. 56 children lost parents in the Ballymurphy massacre. Imagine those children, their children, their children, We have much to learn from our young people about living after loss. May their voices be recovered. May their voices not be lost. I'm going to end by reading 3 poems from The Sun is Open. Thank you for listening. How did we spin the thread that tethered each to each? Me, you, me. How did we exist before these letters, all these sounds? I know sound we had enough to sound out the line between us. I had a sound for you. By it I called you Daddy. You had one for me, the name you gave me, between 1 and 2 syllables. Gail, you called me, your twice-voiced daughter. My father rejoices. That's what it means. My name, I mean. But did he? What, if anything, was the source of his joy? Was there joy between us before he left or after he walked through the hall? The squeaky door saddle across the tiles, walking outside into the morning, into those bullets sailing through the blue air, into perforation, into a heap, into gravel, an almost human shape, into death, into silence, or whatever comes after. Look to the mountains. Help will come. Let your awake guard you. The sun will not hurt. Day, moon, night, come and go.